take us back. I think we should start at the beginning. Take us back.
Okay.
Take a bit of your history. I mean, when did the bikes come into play?
So for me, the motorcycle and the two-wheel whole life started ever since like I can literally remember. I mean, some of my youngest memories as a little boy was watching Supercross on the TV, Jeff Stanton, Mike
Yes, sir.
Lockridge, The Rock, all these guys. I just really fell in love with the whole dirt bike thing. And my mom even had a friend, Jeff Buzzboom. He raced, so even as a little boy, I'd go watch him do motocross because I grew up in Wyoming, so watching him
Okay,
ride.
cool.
So I was always, for me, all that shit was just like bigger than life. I just always loved it. And then when my stepdad came into play, he was a Harley guy. And so
Cool.
he already liked bikes. He was into it. He was a hard biker. And so he got me a dirt bike when I think my first dirt bike was when I was 8. And so, I was already riding BMX, already into that, got my first, dirt bike young. And that kind of just lived on and kind of just has been a part of my life.
Sick.
Then as I grew up going to high school, I raced dirt bikes, rode and all that stuff. And then my big focus when I was starting to get into, 10th, 11th, 12th grade was I wanted to be an artist and I wanted to be a tattoo artist. I always loved tattooing, man. Had all the magazines when I was a kid and stuff. And once again, my stepdad had like this big badass HD tattoo, and I was always
Yeah,
just like,
sick.
yeah, dude. It's so but I came from these little rural small towns in Wyoming where there wasn't opportunity, there wasn't tattoo shops. The closest one was Laramie, and my grandparents were artists. My
Cool.
grandfather taught at the University of Wyoming. My grandma was an artist, so I've just always been around that as well. So it's like, all right, here, got to have a life path. So when I graduated, I got a full ride scholarship to Mesa State, which was in
Oh,
Colorado.
sick.
And for me, that was huge because there was good opportunity to get back into riding and dirt
Yeah,
biking. There's a
yeah.
lot of open space, really cool bluffs. But it was like, all right, maybe this art thing can really, really take the path that I want to take. Got me out of Wyoming as well. Did not want to stay in Wyoming anymore. And so got there and realized very quick that college was not my jam, not my forte, and also the
Yeah,
art program was pretty rough. And for
yeah.
me,
Mm.
because no one really explained this to me, it was about the culture of like tattooing and oil painting, just being an
Yeah,
artist. And they're like, well, that really doesn't work. You need to be a graphic designer or ABC and all that.
yeah,
And I was like, oh no, no, that's not.
yeah, man.
So I just started kind of working, and I just dropped out.
Yeah,
And
I've
so
I've literally had like people come to me and want me to apprentice them, and they're like, they've come straight from university and college with these art degrees, and I'm like, you don't understand what this if you come here, you're gonna have to forget everything you've learned.
it's a whole different game.
It's not the fucking same. Yeah.
It's a whole different world,
Sorry,
dude.
carry on.
So it was tough for me, and it was kind of disappointing too because I like getting that scholarship. I just thought, oh man, I really have a future that's kind of like
Yeah.
I got my path. It kind of got shit figured
Was it
out,
an
but
art scholarship? Was it all?
yeah, it was an
Yeah.
art
Okay.
scholarship.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but you're 18, it's dumb as fuck.
Yeah.
I didn't know any better, dude. And I'm starting to get
Yeah.
out into the world finally. So, but at that point, my mom had moved. And she was in Fort Collins, Colorado, which was on the other side of the Rockies on I-70.
Cool.
So she's like, listen, man, just come down here. I really think you're gonna fall in love with Fort Collins. And there's a lot of, shit here, tattoo shops, culture, it'd be great. So
Sick.
I moved down there and instantly did fall in love with Fort Collins. And at that point, I was already in love with Colorado. I mean, beautiful area, the mountain, the riding, everything
My
was really,
friend's trying to get me to move there right now.
dude.
Yeah.
It's a special place. It's
Yeah.
changed a little bit since I was there, but
Yeah.
it's really cool, and especially Fort Collins, man. It's just small enough. You got Denver right there. There's a bunch of rad bars. There's
Yeah.
and there was a lot of cool shit going on. So really started jumping back into writing again and pushing on the tattoo thing. But I also realized with the tattoo thing that it was also hard as fuck.
Yeah.
Great, come on in. You're gonna work free for the first year. You're gonna be our slave. It's gonna be
Yeah.
awesome. And I'm like, oh no, I don't think that's gonna work either.
Yeah.
I need some money.
Yeah, totally.
So I started, getting tattooed and started pretty going, going on that pretty heavily, hanging out in the shops, writing, but I was getting into woodworking at the time. And so that was all right, but I still was like, man, how do I take all my passion for what I want in these industries and blend it? And in that point, airbrushing was a pretty big thing, man. Guys
Okay,
were
cool.
pretty big into the whole, making their freaking bikes all just muraled out and all that
Yeah.
stuff. It was pretty popular, dude. And
What year
so
was this?
oh God, I'm trying to think. 2000, and I graduated in 99, moved down there. I mean, you're talking by the time I did the paint thing, probably 2003, 2004.
Yeah. So it was
So
heavy then. Yeah.
super heavy. And you have, Orange County Choppers, you have Jesse James, you have Billy Lane, you have all those bike shows that were like blowing up, dude. So the bike
Yeah.
scene and culture was insane. Everybody's building, everybody's going. And so what I started doing is I started airbrushing my motocross helmets. And when I would go to the
Oh,
track
cool.
for my buddies and stuff, they're like, oh my God, that's pretty cool. And everybody had a truly designed helmet. So it was a little bit of a separation from that. And I was hand painting them, and so I made a little pamphlet, and that
Yeah.
kind of turned into the word leaking out. And I got a bike finally.
Cool.
And then I did that bike for this guy and was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And so
Yeah.
what he did as a tip, he had this old 1980 CB, Honda CB, 750.
750. Yeah.
The bike, dude. And he's like, it doesn't run, but I just want you to have this, and
Sick.
I think that this would be really cool. You can really start getting into the other side of riding, because I was still only into dirt bikes at that point. And so
Yeah.
that all worked out. It was great. And then once I started getting into that, I learned really quick, like, oh man, like, I can't weld. I can't really do a lot of the things I want to do. The
Yeah.
paint company, it was also a side hustle. That was kind of tough. What basically is my next phase of life, and where do I want to go with this? And so my wife's like, hey man, you should go back to WyoTech. And WyoTech was in Laramie, Wyoming,
Right.
which was an
Yep.
hour away, right over the border, right?
Yep.
And I kind of hemmed and hawed about it. And I had some buddies that had, some good success from going to WyoTech. And I said, you know what, let's do it. So called up a recruiter. He came down, told him the path I wanted to go. And he's like, listen, man, we'll do ASM, which is the business side of it. We'll do
Yep.
collision and finishing, because you're already a painter. You can get certified. And then I think you should go into street rod and advanced street rod, because I think that you're going to like this. And I just like, cool, dude.
Wow.
Sign
Yeah.
me up. So it's a crazy thing at WyoTech, because they treat it like a job. So I had, there's a lot of faith on my wife and me based on what I was going to do with this, because I had to quit my job, dude, start
Yeah,
working at
shit.
night, and you have to drive back and forth every single day. I had to drive over 287, which is this violent little 2-laner highway over this mountain that goes into Laramie. Horrible winter.
Shit.
Oh, dude, we
Yeah.
almost died 3 times, like seriously going back. And if in a phase you miss more than 3 days, they call it phasing out. So they phase you out. You're done. You're done with WyoTech, because
Fuck.
they want to teach you,
Yeah.
the work.
Yeah.
So, dude, it was brutal. But by the time I got into street rod and advanced street rod, it was just like, oh my God, we started learning principles of TIG welding,
Yeah.
hey, just started touching metal, and by the, airbrushing, all this cool shit. So by the time I got into advanced street rod, I was like, I'm going to build a gas tank, and they let me do a huge mural on a hood. And I
Sick.
did both. And I had a lot of, I wouldn't say haters, but a lot of skeptical teachers being like, you can't do that. And I did it. And when I
Yeah.
built that gas tank, and I'm not saying it's my best gas tank ever, but I did it. I achieved
Yeah.
it, dude. And
Yeah.
it changed me forever, because I'm like, dude, if I can get what's in here out, use this artistic sense I have and this creating thing I want to do, and put it into bikes and cars, I love this.
Yeah,
So
man.
graduation, Neil from Tin Element, a company in Loveland,
Yeah.
hired me. And it was a little shop. It was him and Sean, and they were just super high end builders, coach builders. I mean, these guys were no joke. A long time in the
Yeah.
industry. Neil was a techer. And so I got in there, and I started going, dude. And
Sick.
Neil really, really turned me on to the bigger actual picture of the industry, what this means, what this looks like.
Yeah.
I started really falling in love once again, more on the hot rod culture and the chopper culture. So from there, I went to Nostalgia Custom Paint Design a little bit, helped open up that company with Adam. From there, basically Pinky's Rod Shop poached me. I went to Pinky's was another just like insane eye opener, because they
Yeah.
were such a leader in that industry and so high end on the metal shaping and the hot rods. It blew my mind. So that was a push. That was a very hard shop to work at, but that was a definite level up. And then I ended up at a place called Custom Auto. And Custom Auto was run by Dave Krause at the time. They've been in
Right.
business for 30 years, and it was hot rod history, it was restorations and hot rod building. And then that's when I really decided at that point I'm gonna really dig deep on the bikes. Like at
Yeah.
that point, bikes I had been like kind of, building my own, kind of messing around with them, having some fun, buying and selling. But it was like, you know what, the hand built, born free, all those shows were really starting to kick. The culture of it was
Yeah.
really starting to ramp up, and it was like, damn, dude, it'd be really cool to like take this a little bit more serious as a pro builder. And then I built my BSA. That BSA got me into the hand built show. That got me
Sick.
on to that. I met Justin from there. We did Wrenches Against the Machine, where I met Craig Rodsmith. And then after that, I kind of turned over to the Harley side of it, more of the chopper
Yeah.
side. I kind of never looked back, man. So that company, Dave ended up selling it. He had cancer. He moved to Arizona, and that turned into the Forge. And
Yeah.
then at some point, right, you could feel that Mike was probably going to sell that company as well. Everybody was
Right.
kind of on where we were going to go, and I decided to start Crybaby Cycles. So
Right.
from
Cool.
Crybaby Cycles, that was great, man. That was my own little shop in Greeley with me and my wife, and that was fun. That was a lot of fun, dude. And I was doing bikes and cars, and then that led to the call from Paul at Orange County Choppers. And
Right.
then the Orange County Choppers thing was crazy because it was like that never was my cup of tea of bikes.
Yeah.
That never was,
Yeah.
my
So I get you.
style and what I did. And he was just like, listen, man, come down, do a guest spot, do a tank. And I'm like, all
Yeah.
right, fine, dude. That's my jam. I'm a tank guy.
Yeah.
That's great. I got down there and a tank turned into the fender, turned into the
Yeah.
seat, into the whole bike.
Yeah.
And it was just for those guys and him specifically, they never seen just true metal shaping and just
Yeah.
that kind of building. And he was like, oh my God, dude, we got to do more. And I was just like, dude, I got my own company. I don't really
Yeah.
know, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he talked me into doing a season. So I got into the season, and the plan was I'm going to fly back and forth, but I'm like, hey, I need some help with this. So that's where I called Ryan Gore from Paper Street Customs, one of my friends.
Yeah.
And we did that whole season, and it was great, and the idea was that we were going to change the style of bike. We were going to
Yeah.
make radical bikes that were handcrafted without all the tchotchke bullshit on them,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
on these bikes, but do it
Yeah.
in this way cleaner way. And it was awesome, dude. It was a really fun time. Ended up going back doing a 2-year contract with him.
Yeah.
But it was a little rough through that patch as well because he had COVID.
Yeah.
There was the shop and everything was kind of coming to an end as a whole. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, my contract ran out. He was going to Florida to do his jam, and I
Yeah.
didn't feel like that for me was really what I wanted. I wanted to get back into the core industry of who I was. And
Yeah.
then I met Chris Bishop. I was building the Easy Rider chopper for him. And
Cool.
so he would come down and we were talking a lot. And he's like, hey, dude, I got a couple ideas about this company. I want to start on the custom side of it. I think a cool name would be American Metal Customs. We both were whiskey guys. We kind of touched on that.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
said, fuck it, man, let's do it. I think it's a good fit for me. And me and him got along really well. We have the same ideals, and ended up creating American Metal Customs and American Metal Whiskey.
Holy shit. It's such a good thing when you find, I feel like that right now with my producer. Like
Okay.
we both have the same vision. And it was like, I don't want to get all fucking, but it was like the world brought us together. Do you know what I mean?
Dude,
Totally, man.
isn't
Like,
it weird when that shit works out? And that's how
it's
it was
like the law of attraction or something. It's crazy.
yeah, because if we're all gonna just, be super transparent, there was a time
Yeah.
when Sarah's sitting in Orange County Choppers, the giant ass huge thing alone, thinking,
Yeah.
well, what the fuck are we gonna do now?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. I
man,
bet.
this is, not quite how we thought it was gonna work out. Man, going back to Colorado, start my shop again. I don't know. And it was like, yeah, it was like a godsend to meet Chris.
Yeah, man.
now I can't believe where I'm at, what we're doing, and been happier than ever. And it's working. So
Sick.
you're right. There's something to be said about that, dude.
Yeah, man. Like we were both looking for just the exact same thing. Like in each other. She didn't
Yeah.
have and I didn't have what I need. And yeah, so it's a crazy thing. Take us back to the what's it like doing these TV shows?
So the TV shows, it's crazy because there's something that's really fun about it, right? You
Yeah,
film and it feels exciting. There's a little bit of adrenaline there. Plus, you have a very specific goal and timeline. I'm very goal oriented.
yeah,
And to me, I always liked it. I never mind being on camera. It never bothered me. I've worked with
yeah,
some other dudes where you put a camera on them
yeah,
and like, it just shut down,
yeah.
dude.
It's shut down. Yeah,
They can't do anything. And plus,
yeah,
when you're working and you're really into something and you have a camera, you got to be able to push that out. And so
yeah,
I never had a problem with that. I always thought it was fun. Wrench Against the Machine was pretty tough because the producers were definitely kind of pitting us on each other and wanting some drama for us. That
yeah.
that a little bit rough, and that's kind of a funny story too. Because once we figured that out too, we were like, oh, okay. And then we all came together, and now they were like, "Whoa, what's going on here?" And we got shit done, and we had fun. And I think
Yeah,
with Kenny Choppers, it was fun too because Paul had been doing it for so long, dude. He doesn't give a shit, dude. And
yeah,
so we did what we did. We built road bikes, and we were proud of it. And
yeah.
that was
Cool.
one of the things too with those guys. They're like, "Hey, we got a problem." We're like, "Oh, shit, what?" They're like, "You guys are actually building these bikes with no problems and there's no drama." And
This
we're
is
like,
this is why I
"What do you
asked.
mean? This is what we do." And
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
like, "Ooh, that's a problem." So we're like,
yeah,
"Ah, fuck." So,
yeah,
so that's some of the complications on it. And that
yeah,
we were really building these bikes on a real serious deadline, dude.
yeah,
There you don't get the 10 months, you don't get the 6 months, they
yeah.
were like some of them were 30 days, some kind of clicked into the
Fuck.
60 days. And so we got in there and we did the best we can, and we worked our asses off. But
Yeah,
because we're away from our families and everything, there was really
yeah,
nothing to do but work.
yeah.
And but it's a lot, dude. It's a lot, man. And you got to be careful so people don't spin you out of who you are as a person. You can't get lost in it, and it can get
Totally.
complicated. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I asked, because there's never not any drama. You know what I mean? And I've spoke to a lot of people who've done TV tattoo stuff, and they hated it. They had a bad experience because they're like,
Yeah.
fuck, it's nothing to do with just tattooing or whatever. But it would be pretty boring just watching. Well, for us it wouldn't be. We'd be like, oh shit, how are they doing that? But for like fucking Joe Smo on the fucking couch, they need the drama, don't they?
And you just nailed it. And that's where a lot of the producers were coming with us of like, we get you, this is what you guys do. And like you said, if there's a common interest, but most people, they really don't care about the bikes. And it was
Nah,
like,
totally.
ah, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a bit disheartening. Like, yeah,
Yeah, because we
yeah,
were just focused on that because we're in our own realm. But
yeah,
I get it. And I
yeah,
think all the content that we do now is fun because it's short content. So we
yeah.
can get short drives, beautiful content. And
It's
if you
nice.
don't like it, that's cool. If you like it, that's great too.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's not the bread and butter to make the company go forward. And so we've
yeah.
been having a lot of fun with that and a whole different, attitude and demeanor with people.
That's good. I love the brand, the American.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I really
Yeah.
do. Yeah,
Well, thank
yeah,
you, man. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a lot of fun, dude.
I mean, it's so grand. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, compared, it's such a contrast to people wrenching in their garage and shit. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I love it. Like when I messaged you the other day saying, "Where is this room?" You
Yeah.
put up like that's fucking crazy. Like little,
Well, and that's where I'm at right now. I'm in the Glamour and Grit Lounge, and the
yeah,
shop's wild too. And thanks to Chris, because of his background, the success he's had, to be able to create such a facility. But that
yeah,
was the whole idea here, is that there's the building process. You're giving us a lot of money. You're trusting us, but like let's have an experience here.
yeah,
Let's be able to walk in, see a beautiful showroom floor, see the work that, we're doing, be able to come have a cocktail, be able to have these culture moments. We all love music, we all love art, right?
Yeah,
There's
sick.
more than just to what we're doing out there with whatever we're building, and it really resonates with people to have
Yeah,
them, they love it. They want to be a part of it, dude.
yeah. So where can you see it going? Because I can't see that thing stopping. That's like the world's your oyster with that thing, really.
Well, it's pretty wild, man. It took years to get in here. The building took a
Yeah,
long time to get built. The bar was a nightmare. There was
mm,
definitely aspects of it that were tough. But now
yeah,
that it's here, eh, the shop's packed. There's an awesome team. We're
yeah,
going for that. We've done a lot the last 2 years back in the show scene and all that stuff that I was always a part of. And I think right now our big push probably, obviously the shop, keep pushing, keep building,
yep,
opportunities just naturally arise there. But we're pushing pretty hard on the whiskey side of it right now.
yeah.
That's been kind of something that we created that was like, oh man, this is really taken off. It's done really well organically, but now it's
Awesome.
really time to put some, big investment behind it, put some distribution, and really start kicking it out there, man.
Yeah, man. So I mean, how did those both two things come together?
Well, once again, once we got the custom side all set up, and
Yeah,
it's okay when we go to these shows, like for me and all my friends that are in the industry, we go to these
yeah,
shows to obviously show what we're building, but it's also like a party. It's also fun,
yeah,
dude,
yeah, yeah.
because you're letting go, you're blowing off steam, all that shit that you've worked up to, it's a hangout. A lot of people and friends I don't get to see unless I hit these shows a lot of time.
Totally.
And it's like, man, we already liked whiskey. The spirit game was already everywhere you go. It's all handcraft cocktails and all this.
Yeah,
It was like, man, American metal whiskey connected to the shop that has a story now. It's not just another
yeah,
whiskey. This is infused by the builders. This is branding. This is everything that the shop is,
yeah,
connects to that. And then we started thinking, man, like so many of the clients and people here too that, they liked whiskey. They like
yeah,
drinking. So it's
yeah,
like let's do this, but let's give it a real story and background. And that's why they're tied to the shop. That's why it's called American Metal Whiskey. And it once again, it was one of those things it just worked, man. We met the
amazing.
right people in the right times, and it just landed, dude.
Yeah, I'm guessing you can't. There's no like Vista print of fucking whiskey. You can't just like
Oh,
stick a label. Like, yeah,
yeah, and that's the cool things when things are very really I like, and I build like this too when things are just really
yeah,
organically done. And
yeah.
that's how,
Okay,
hey,
yeah,
this is a cool idea, and you just start kind of going down that path. Hey, I know a guy, call this dude. Hey, now we got this. Now we
yeah.
brought in,
Cool.
oh shit, now we got our whiskey source.
Yeah,
Now click on this. We called in Dan, who does a lot of design for us. Hey
yeah,
man, let's start working on a label. And next thing you know, it was like, holy shit, we're really onto something, man. So
yeah.
it's crazy how things happen, dude.
Is it like a bourbon or is it like a scotch?
It's a whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
Cool. Yeah.
not a scotch, not a bourbon, it's a
Yeah.
whiskey, man. And
Okay.
so
Cool.
and that's another complicated thing because there's so much in the industry right
Yeah.
now. It's
Yeah. Of
pretty wild.
course.
But
I love like again like just going back to the people say to me all the time, "Oh, you're so fucking lucky. Oh man, you got." And
yeah,
I
you're
say, I don't think I'm lucky. And it's more just like you were saying then when the opportunities come, I just take them. I just don't say no to anything. And even if I'm not sure, if I think it's going to be damaging, then of course, you know.
sure. But I hear
But
what you're saying.
if something's interesting, even if it means it's going to be a little bit expensive or it's going to do the or whatever, I'd rather kind of go down the road and
Yeah.
peep around myself than just like, "Oh, what if?" And nine
Never.
times out of 10, it leads somewhere.
Yeah. No, it absolutely does. And I think that, you know, people get scared sometimes. I think people overthink things sometimes, and I
Yeah,
definitely think you got to jump in. That's part of entrepreneurship. That's part of business. That's
totally.
taking
Yeah,
chances. I don't know anybody that's been successful with anything without failures and without taking
totally.
mad chances, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's another thing people say. They say, "Oh my god, but what if it doesn't work?" So I'm just gonna keep going.
Done a lot of shit that hasn't worked.
Yeah, totally, totally.
It's
People will
always
bring
fun
it
to
up.
tell. because they look at where you are now, and it's like,
Yeah,
well, I haven't told you about, all these other years of just shit, struggle, and failure.
totally. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I had someone the other day, and they tried bringing something up that I tried years ago, and they were like, "Do you remember when you did that?" And they were kind of laughing. I was like, "Yeah, man. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't bother me. I don't care. You know? Yeah, yeah, totally.
yeah. No, I look back and things I've built, things I've done, and I'm like, oh my God, it was so bad. But in the in but you're in it, then you're
Yeah,
learning.
totally.
That's my biggest thing. As long as you can keep progressing, learn from your mistakes,
That's it.
you're gonna be all right, man.
What about let's go to your bikes, because you have like a very unique style.
Yeah.
Like I think I would call it gangster.
Oh, thank you.
Like that
I've never heard
fucking
that, but hey, I like that. I like that.
yeah. Seriously, it's fucking it's impressive. It's
Oh, thank you.
crazy. Like how did that develop?
It,
Where do you pull inspiration from for that?
well, it's weird when you got, I don't know. It's hard to answer these questions sometimes because, I look at guys like Sosa and Max and, people that, I really look up to in the industry. And I think that's why, not only is Sosa such a great guy, but he's got such a wild, interesting flavor and style to his bikes. And,
Yep.
he has a thing because he's his own thing and he chooses to go down a path. I think that's the first thing is thinking about, well, who are you deep?
Yep.
Because to me, there's just a sea of bikes and a sea of choppers out there, which a lot, it's cool and it's great, but it's like you tend to see a lot of the same things.
Yeah.
And when I really started getting into this, I thought, well, I really like, I always love design. I always
Yeah.
love buildings, especially the Art Deco movement and
Yeah.
cars, cars influence me too, especially if you look in the 40s and the 50s area, the lines, the inlays, it was just a different time.
Yeah. You can see
Oh,
that in your builds.
and I always took a lot of that with me. Plus, I grew up, in an art studio. I've spent a lot of time studying art and
Yep.
design. So I think that helped me. But I just wanted to, I knew at some point too, either I'm gonna just like go into the masses or I can separate myself and I can try to find who I am. So I did put a lot of time into style of like what I think things should look like. And then I think a big thing, especially in the beginning, that separated me is I loved brass, I loved
Yeah.
bronze, I loved mixed metals. And
Yeah.
when I started really experimenting with that contrast and that vibe and what it did really, really, really worked. Once again, like everything, there's a lot of guys doing it now and, their own flavors of it. But for me in the beginning, that helped. And I really latched on to like, okay, that's something I'm going to continue to pull through. And
Yep.
then, I don't put myself in a box. So, when I go to build something, I never say it's got to be this way exactly, or I might have a loose design, but so many of my designs have been like when I'm in the thick of it, oh shit. Oh, look at this. Now I can take it this way, or I can
Yeah.
shape it, or I can do a cut in to get that.
Yeah.
Where I think a lot of guys like they make a buck and like that's it, dude. That
Yeah.
that's it, like they're gonna make that shape in that thing, and I try
Yeah.
not to. And I think that's helped with some of my style that I've kind of naturally gotten into.
Yeah.
But it's not an easy question because I pull from all kinds of crap.
Yeah. The thing with your bikes is like we were saying about like the OCC ones, like your ones are definitely rideable bikes. Like, do
I
you know what I
try
mean
really hard with that,
yeah,
dude.
yeah.
Yeah.
But if I owned one of your bikes, I wouldn't want to ride it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because they're so fucking clean. They're just so
Well,
fucking
it's weird too because like my personal bike, King Nothing,
yeah,
that bike, that was my Born for Anything 10 bike. There's a shitload of metal work and everything into that bike. But then,
yeah,
dude, I bronzed it and I've never washed that bike. I don't mess with that bike. I ride the shit out
yeah,
of that bike.
yeah,
And
sick.
honestly, it just gets better in time,
Yeah,
and
definitely. Yeah,
some of the other clean metal ones, they're a little bit tickier, but dude, that's the cool thing about it. I tell people too. Like when I built Ryan's bike in Jersey,
yep,
insane amount of work went into that tank. And I'm like, dude, just scuff it. Just scuff it. Like, don't stress,
yeah,
scuff
yeah,
it, dude. Like,
yeah.
oh, okay, but
Yeah, yeah,
people tend to get ticky, and I understand it. There's so much time, there's so much money into it
yeah,
that
totally. Yeah. So I mean,
for
what's the average kind of clientele that you're building for? Because
It's all over the
I'll let you
place, man.
answer. Yeah.
It's all over the place. On the cars, we have some, really big hitters. Also, cars are, they're really expensive to build, dude. They take years,
Yeah.
they a whole different level. But the
Years?
bikes get what's that?
It takes years to build a
Yeah,
car? Oh,
usually on the
really?
cars, man,
Yeah.
it's really hard to do something under a year.
Oh, wow.
The only way you can really do that is to have an absolute dedicated, like you're just cranking,
Yeah.
plus hours on it, or a couple guys. But especially when you get into, cars that you're either doing a lot of chops, so there's a
Yeah.
lot of metal work involved, custom chassis, all that. It takes time, man.
Wow.
The bikes for me, the shortest period of time I can build a bike is like on that born free timeline,
Yeah.
like that 9 or 10 months.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it can get rough too. And a lot of people don't understand, like, a tank isn't like a week or two usually when you get to these certain levels. It can be
Right.
weeks, the tank, man.
Right. Shit.
There's just a shitload of work involved
Yeah.
in it, with all the crazy motor stuff, and it's just time consuming. I don't know,
Yeah.
man.
It's funny when people they'll bitch about prices and stuff, but
Yeah.
obviously they just don't understand how long metal work takes.
Yeah, like custom springers. Guys are like, "Oh, I love a
Yeah.
springer, man." But they see a DNA springer, they see a repop, they see these aftermarket springers for this like really cheap prices, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
dude, you don't know how hard this is to make this springer, and
Totally.
so it functions, and so you don't die, and also
Yeah.
so it looks great. Like
Yeah. Totally.
like, dude, and then they hear the prices, and they're like, "Oh shit, thanks."
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
on the custom bike side, I don't, it's kind of choppy on that, because you got to have
Yeah.
the right client that will come in and just say, "Hey, let's do it."
Yeah.
They're kind of all over the place, and like we're working on we got a couple panhead projects. That one was kind of restoration wise. We have a
Yeah.
49 in right now, and then I'll
Yeah.
do some parts and stuff for people. But it's hard, man. It's hard.
Yeah. That Knucklehead. What motor was that? Say again?
The last bike I built.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that started off as that was a 38 knuckle.
Yep.
And then it was an old VL frame. And
Cool.
so yeah, just that was kind of the starting. And then I took the whole frame, just completely chopped it all apart, windowed it, and I started with that front cradle. And
Yeah.
then that's kind of where it was born.
Fuck. So I mean, when it comes to tidying up a motor like that, like to that clean, how's that shit start?
That motor was a fucking nightmare. And
Yeah.
for me, primarily, I love Nux, I love panheads, but everybody
They
knows
always are though. They always are.
yeah,
Everyone wants one, but it's fucking
they're a lot. They're really expensive. Everybody knows the knuckle prices are through the roof. They're super
yeah.
rare. And when you start getting into, 36, 37, 38, 39, dude,
Knucklehead's a pain in the fucking ass.
they are, and that motor is like all of them, it's a long story of how Matt came into my life, and that's where I got that motor from. But
Yeah.
the nice thing about it is it was already a running nice motor, dude. So it was like coming across a gold mine, dude. But the problem is for Born Free, it was like, dude, I want to polish the cases, I want, dual carbs, I want open valves and all these crazy things. That kind of set the nightmare. And it was one of those things where you strip it all down, you make sure everything fits, and the case is out to get polished. I got the dual port heads from Warren at Mama Tried, but then I had to re-weld them, correct them, do fins, all of it. I mean, it was a super intense, crazy motor build. And that was honestly, my first time doing a dual carb. Usually I like to do really nice traditional motors that I know are going to run really well. And so that was a big learning curve and a pain in the ass, but I couldn't be happier with how it turned out, dude. And
Yeah,
Matt
it
was
definitely worked.
yeah, no, it was cool. We came up with some really creative, cool shit on the open valves on where the rockers are, and oiling in them and making passages and stuff. So it was a really fun experience with the motor. It was cool, man.
So do you like outsource like all the polishing and all that stuff, or did you do it all in house?
Outsource the polishing, but
Yeah.
that was it. Yep, that was
Very
it.
cool.
I hate polishing, dude.
Yeah,
Can't
man. Yeah. I hate anything repetitive. I hate. I can't like painting if you're painting the house or something like that.
Yeah.
so
And
shit.
I think it's like in any craft and trade, we have some dudes
Yeah,
here that are like, that's what they do, man. They polish.
yeah,
They're so fast. Their prices are amazing. So it's just like,
yeah.
dude,
Take care of that for me.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I mean, whose bike is that?
So
Was that built for
that's
a client or?
no, that was
Okay,
built specifically for Born Free.
okay,
In the
sick.
bike, usually what I do is I'll sit on them for a while,
Yeah,
do magazines, do some shows and stuff with them, and then see if anybody comes wants to buy it. But yeah, that was a specific Born Free
yeah.
thing.
I
Yeah.
mean, you don't have to answer this, but what would a fucking bike like that? What would you put that out at?
Well, I'll be super honest, man.
Yeah,
The price of the motor, getting it to where it is,
yeah,
that transmission, because that was another full polish
yeah,
rebuild. Literally everything on that bike was pretty much custom made besides like
yeah,
the parts you can't, like brakes and stuff,
yeah,
custom those, everything. With
yeah.
my labor, if you paid me the shop labor, which is 110, and the price of that, you're at $150, dude.
Wow, holy shit.
Right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
I'll get, floored by that, but dude, I mean, you
No, but it
just
is what it. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
the people who get floored by it, people that aren't going to buy it. You know what I mean? And I'm one of them, so I'm not shitting on them people, but there'll be some cat out there that's got that
Well, I mean, that's
you know what I
just
mean?
it. It's not that it's not out there. It's, what do you want out of the bike? What do you like about it?
Yeah,
What's your plan? We have people that have bought bikes in my life that they set places. I have bikes in
yeah,
museum.
yeah,
It's not always this bike you go out and ride and like have this whole experience with it. People look at it as art. Some people
yeah,
don't look at it as art. It's hard, but the chrome bill, the paint, you add all that stuff up, dude, and the labor, the amount of time that it takes to build all those pieces, people don't get, dude.
nah,
Like it's stupid. It
yeah.
gets
They
stupid.
never take that into account when it comes to
Yeah,
like building bikes and stuff.
yeah,
They're like, well, the motor only costs this and the frame only costs this, so what? And you're like, yeah, but I'm doing it.
yeah. And and I'm, and then when you really start getting into like, yeah, complicated parts and making it function,
Yeah,
it's just, dude, it eats it up, man.
yeah,
It is what it is, dude. And that's why I tell people, it is what it
yeah.
is, man.
Have you got like a waiting list? Are you pretty
No,
backed up? No.
no, I mean, on the cars and stuff like that,
Yeah,
the cars are different, and that's another thing that's changed in my life a lot. And I kind of learned this the hard way and kind of by accident as well. But like the demographic that you live in really
yeah,
can determine what scope of projects you're going to have in a shop.
yeah,
Here in Connecticut on the East Coast, it's very driven cars restoration.
yeah,
There's a lot of antique stuff around here. There's a lot of swap meets that are amazing and stuff. But
yeah,
honestly, in this area, to just be truthful, like there's not like chopper shops there. You don't really
yeah,
see shops, you don't really see that stuff. So it's been a little bit tougher. When I was in Colorado, I was banging out tanks and parts, sending them all over the world,
yeah,
Europe, Australia. I had bikes and cars in there. The bike stuff we're working on here, it's been harder to find that clientele. But on the car side, it's crazy, dude. I
yeah.
mean,
Awesome.
the shop's full of them, dude.
So, do you do
So
any of the car stuff,
yeah,
or do
yeah.
you? Yeah,
A lot of people don't know that, I've spent just as much time, if not more, in the car world, dude. Yeah, I
right.
mean, I
Cool.
spent years and years and years of my life in the hot rod industry. And my next
Right.
project I'm gearing up to do is another 1934 Ford hot rod, super hard
Sick.
chop, slammed, old H&H flathead, blown motor. Like it'll be
Sick.
wild. So,
Yeah, man.
so I always walk that line. The last, I would say, probably 5 years of my life have been, pretty heavy on the bike side of it.
Yep.
But yeah, man.
So, I mean, with the shop then, so is it like a one-stop? Can you do pretty much everything there?
Yeah.
Paint,
So
everything.
yeah, the
Yeah.
shop's wild, dude. So we have a whole part department. We have all these books, whether it's Harley, whether it's cars, on the restoration
Sick.
side of it, because you got to know what you're doing there.
Yeah.
Also, we order things like crazy. So a full parts department to take care of all that need, that's run by Tom. We have
Wow.
two mechanic bays. The mechanic bay is ran by Chris and him and George. You know, so they're always doing stuff, you know, all these cars, all these bikes always need a little bit of, you know, crap work
Yeah.
done. Then we have a full interior shop ran by Brian Carlos and, you know, his wife,
Sick.
and those are full on amazing custom interiors, dude.
Yeah.
We have an amazing alignment rack, world class alignment technology, tire machine. And then on the fabrication build side, you know, you got me, you got Ralph, you got Dave, you got Jason. Matt helps out on the vintage side of things. You got Kevin. And then, you know, I've had a long-term relationship with Bailey. So we have
Yeah.
every tool and metal shaping tool that you need, jig tables. We have a world-class paint booth. It's 20 by 40. So not only can you get the whole car in there, you can get all the parts with the custom mix
Yeah.
station. This shop is definitely one-stop shop, man. Anything you need. And then
That's
the
crazy.
things that we outsource, we have a little machine shop set up, but nothing too crazy. So we use TP Engineering with our
Yep.
old boy Fred over there if we need to really get into like a rebuild of an old car motor. And then, you know, another company that we have is called North American Motor Car, and that's the storage side. So we have a storage facility and a detail shop too,
Right.
because
Cool.
you know a lot of people in this, you know, neck of the woods, they
Yeah.
want to store their cars because winter is so bad. So
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
it's a destination, man. It's a whole thing here, dude. You can drop
What
your
took
shit
you from Colorado there? Like, how come you landed
County
there?
Choppers, Orange
Yeah.
County
Yeah.
Choppers.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
That's
makes
what
sense.
that initial move was, because we're only an hour away from there. And
Right.
then
That
Chris
makes
lived
sense.
in Connecticut, and then that's when we partnered up. That's what brought me here.
Right.
Yeah, I
Perfect.
never thought in my wildest dreams, dude, I'd be on the East Coast or Connecticut. I always thought it
Yeah.
was gonna be other coast or Texas. You know, I
Yeah.
never.
Yeah. Totally.
But as goes life, you know.
Yeah, man. Sick. So what was that? What was that gas monkey thing I seen on your?
So that was a cool thing. And once again, that goes back to my relationship with Bailey. You know, they were one of
Yep.
the people in the beginning that really started push me. Social really grabbed onto my metal work and started pushing me. And then when I did the shop, me and Shane really connected. He helped tool that up. He's helped tool this up. He's helped, you know, Orange County Choppers over the years. So he reached out and just said, "Hey man, you know, we're gonna do this really cool metal shaping class. It's going to be some of the guys we consider the top, you know, this
Yep.
Legends class, and we'd love for you to be a part of it." And it
Yeah.
instantly, dude,
Sick.
when I saw the instructors were like, "Oh my god, you know, these are the guys I look
Yeah.
down." And so
Yeah.
they decided to do it at Gas Monkey in Texas. You know, it's a
Yeah.
great location, and I think from the country, everybody, you know, it's kind of a central location. And it was awesome, dude. I mean, it was a wild experience. It's really
Yeah.
fun. Everybody had a really good time, man. Got to hang out with some of my, you know, friends and peers. Sosa took me to the Haas Museum, which was
Yeah. Sick.
mind-blowing experience. And so it was really fun. And it was a big honor to be a part of those guys, man.
So how many people took the class? Was it a class? Would you call it a class?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
it was definitely
Yeah.
class. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think it was over 40, over 40, 42, 45.
Wow.
It was a big
Amazing.
class, man. And I
Yeah.
think they were originally going to run it and then COVID hit and it got just put on this giant delay. So more
Yeah.
people wanted in, and then they wanted to, you know, make sure everybody got in. So but yeah, it was a really cool experience, man.
Can you see any more stuff like that coming up? Do you
Oh,
enjoy
a
doing the
lot.
teaching side of it?
Yeah, a lot. You
Yeah.
know, I've always talked about it. You know, some of my
Yep.
boys, Craig and Sosa, do them a lot, as everybody knows.
Yep.
The facility we have now is like absolutely perfect for it. So this coming year, we definitely want to do some stuff here. And
Oh,
then, you know,
sick.
I would love to, you know, go up to Sosa's and all that and be a part of those as well.
Yeah, man.
So it's really rewarding and really fun, man.
Mate, I'd love to. I'd fly over for something like that.
Dude,
Yeah, definitely.
you should, man. You could come
Yeah,
over here. We could set you up, see the
that'd be
shop,
great.
and yeah, be a part of it, man. It'd
Yeah,
be a
man.
lot. So
Yeah, I'd
yeah,
love that.
this coming year, man, we got a lot going on, but that's I would love to do a couple of those a year at least.
Yeah, man. So, do you do like a lot of like how do I word it? Do you build a lot of bikes for like brands and like media stuff? It looks like a lot of media stuff reach out to you from your Instagram.
Yeah, the media stuff that usually reaches out to me is more like on, you know, like I work with Decibels, you know,
Yeah.
there's companies like that and brands, but usually not for like building something with yet. There
Okay, cool.
hasn't a whole lot of that. Yeah.
Right, okay, cool. And the board, and like you're a invited builder at Born Free. This one just gone?
Yeah, just this
Yeah,
past
yeah.
one. I'm not going to do it this year.
No.
I've done it 3 times. You know, we've done the
Yeah.
show. I think as a total, I've been there twice just to do
Yeah.
the show brand, and then 3 times as a builder.
Yeah.
This year I'm going to actually come back to Born Free, but I'm going to be coming back with Harley.
Okay,
Harley's getting
cool.
one of the new bikes, and I'm gonna, do my thing with it and come back and show it there.
Yeah, sick. So the other invited builders bikes, what were they? So this one was a Knucklehead, wasn't it?
Yeah,
And
so
then
the my first invited bike was King Nothing. That was
yeah,
my 46 personal bike, my Knucklehead.
yeah,
The second one was Malibu Honey.
right.
And COVID messed all that one up, and I wasn't able
Yeah,
to actually go. So I took that one the year before last and still just showed it. And then
yeah.
this year was Ziden, the latest
Okay,
Knucklehead.
sick.
So those are my three I've done for the invited series.
Did COVID affect you much when it came to business and stuff like that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was pretty wild. And like I said, that was during the Orange County Choppers
Yeah.
times. And you got to realize primarily the bikes we were building were for more, corporate, companies and stuff.
Yeah.
It wasn't for personal people except for a handful. So it
Yeah.
when it shut everything down, it shut all those down, those budgets and a lot of opportunities we had. It killed a couple of those.
Holy shit.
So it was rough there, dude. New
Yeah.
York was first really to go in hard lockdowns and get really crazy.
Yeah.
So it was bad, dude. And like I said, there was times in the shop where, I was just working on stuff alone, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, it was wild, man.
It was a crazy time. And
Yeah.
it's funny, like the amount of shit it affected. Like you'd think that you'd be able to still do your job, like with just fucking stay 10 feet away or whatever. But yeah, it was
It was tough for me. And and once again, I don't want to
yep, same, yep,
this path and
yeah,
oh, this guy's a piece of shit. But like for me
yeah,
with COVID, we obviously had to abide by the restrictions, but there was another
yeah,
side of me where I'm like, I'm going to the shop, dude. I'm
yeah,
gonna still live. I'm going outside, guys. Sorry. Like, I
totally.
it was really, really tough for me to just sit inside and look out the window and think we're all gonna die, man, because
Yeah,
life's
man.
still
Yeah,
gone for me, dude.
I think when you've got brains like ours as well,
Yeah,
I'm not built to do that. Like I need
I'm
to
not either, man.
be
And
proactive.
for us, it was cool at Orange County Choppers because we had this shop. We had a place to
Yeah,
go to that there was nobody at. And so it was like a little safe haven, and it was some cool experiences too. Like me, Paul, his wife Joni, Sarah, Jason, we would all get together, have some dinners and little parties there because it was our little, you know,
what they call it. You called it a bubble, didn't they? Here
yeah,
they called
yeah.
it a
And
bubble.
so
Yeah,
we weren't just stuck at the house. So for me, that
yeah,
was awesome, dude.
yeah.
Yeah,
Sick. So
yeah.
what? So I mean, where can you see the brand? Is there any more apart from the whiskey and stuff? Are you still gonna be? But like, what about the show scene and stuff like that? Do you?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're still going. So
Yeah,
the back next year to Born Free with
yeah,
the bike I'm gonna do with Harley. So we got that. We're coming into Mama Tried in February.
sick.
Love Mama Tried, one of my favorite shows. We're in that whole
Yeah,
crew's great. So we're coming in there. Um then we have a lot of stuff like locally here that we're gonna do that we're always doing, especially in
yeah,
season and stuff like that.
yeah.
We have a lot of cool content coming out. We're actually doing one of our first long-term content, like long format. I'm sorry, that's
Okay.
gonna probably push to like half an hour, maybe 40 minutes. We're gonna do
Oh,
a little
sick.
documentary on my last year's experience with Born Free and that whole
Awesome.
principle and what that looked like and building up to it and stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
It'll be fun. So we got a lot of cool content coming out, and then a lot of times, man, things just kind of pop up,
Yeah,
and the whiskey and the brand go together. So we got some cool stuff going down with the container that we're gonna do with whiskey. So we always have like bikes and cars with us there. But
yeah,
yeah, I think coming off the rip right now is gonna be this month is gonna be Born Free Texas, but we're just
yeah.
gonna, just the whiskey's gonna be there for that. So
Oh, okay, cool. Will
yeah.
you be there?
No, unfortunately,
No.
with everything I have going
Mhm.
here, I'm not gonna be able to make that one.
Yeah,
But maybe next year. They're pushing really hard to blow that up. We love Mike
yeah,
and Grant. We got a big relationship with those guys. So,
yeah, man. I
but
was
yeah,
supposed to
there's
be there this year,
yeah,
but I basically had to choose. I've gone to Colorado in November, and
okay,
yeah, man, it's just it's like fitting everything in, packing everything in. It's fucking
yeah.
It's
And your
crazy.
trips are super long, dude. I mean, yeah, that's some traveling, dude. Yeah.
Oh, mate. Yeah. And I fucking hate flying.
No, do you?
Yeah. I hate it so much.
So have you
uh,
what shows have you done here? Have you
no, none there. None
oh
there. No, no. So I was supposed to come out. It's not a show, but I was supposed to come out for the EDR, and
okay.
then I was going to do Born Free after that.
Yeah.
Um, but I couldn't fly because everything keeps going back to this COVID thing. But I couldn't fly because I'm not vaccinated. So I bought all my yes. So all my tickets, everything. I was ready to go, and the day of the flight, yeah, can't go, not vaccinated, can't enter America. So
That's a bummer,
and
man.
it was pretty annoying because only like 12 days later, America lifted the
They opened up.
yeah,
Well,
totally.
I'm gonna say, man, the culture, the show scene here is some of the best
Yeah,
in the world, as you know, and there's some really
yeah,
cool. But you gotta come check some of this out, dude.
yeah,
Yeah.
man, definitely. Yeah, I'm definitely next year. We're going to be busy. Like we've got, especially now with this producing that now we've got so many plans for so much, all different types of content and getting out there and riding as well.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, you'll
Like
have to come out, check out the shop, tattoo me, and hang out, dude.
yeah, man. Yeah, we'll do it definitely. I'm
That'd
definitely up for that. 100%.
yeah, that's cool.
Awesome. All right, man. Well, I'll let you get back to your day. I really appreciate you coming on, honestly.
Well, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it, dude. And yeah, it's a pleasure to be on, dude.
What I'd like to do is like get over there and we'll do like an in-person podcast.
Yeah.
And that's
We
the
should.
route we're going now is we're trying to
Oh, okay.
fly everywhere. We've got a few in-person ones to record this year, just like the last end. But next year, yeah, we're gonna get out to like Asia and fucking interview some of the like them chopper godfathers in like
Dude,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
so that's where I want to go, man. I want to
yeah,
head,
man.
dude. So
Have you
this
been
came.
to Japan? You been to
No,
the
but
no?
I'm dying, dude. I'm dying.
You
Like
should do
that.
it, man.
I've done so much here that like
Yeah,
I'm the opposite of you. Like I want to go the other ways now.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah.
So
Totally.
much cool shit going out there with cars and bikes too. They just did
Yeah,
the
man.
Normandy races. The Normandy beach races looked
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, man.
So it'd
I
be
mean,
a lot of fun.
some of I mean, Asia seem to they just take like a culture and they just fucking go all in, don't they? Like it's,
The commitment and the
yeah, the
dedication
commitment.
like
Yeah,
I've never seen before, dude. Live it, breathe
yeah,
it, eat it. And we all talk
yeah,
about, dude, a lot of those guys are building in these little tiny rooms with like no tools and they're just
yeah,
you're like, how'd you do that with
yeah,
that and a mallet, dude, and like
totally.
a stump, dude.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Wild,
And like the
right?
lines are perfect, the fucking paint's perfect. And some like most of the time it'll be on like a bike that we would never even
Yeah, never think
look
about
at.
even.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally. Like, but yeah, they go all in with everything. Like even like I seen something recently, the cholo scene out
yeah,
there. They're just in it, man. Do you know what I mean?
sick.
They're just dedicated. Yeah, I
Yeah.
fucking love that shit.
Well, I
But
mean,
yeah,
that's life, right, man? If you're all in, usually it matters, dude.
yeah,
It's far, but yeah, the culture and the scene over there, like you said, it's
yeah,
insane.
yeah. It's
And
amazing. I
everybody
can't
talks.
wait to go out there.
Yeah, yeah. One of
Yeah,
these, man, that's what I want to do too, dude.
we should do
Oh,
it.
I
Definitely.
know, I
Yeah, man.
know.
I'll get over there. I'll tattoo you. We can fucking shoot the shit and then we'll
Yeah.
take on Asia.
No, dude, that'd be a blast, man. I love it, man.
Awesome.
And want everybody to know they can check out all the stuff we have going
Yeah.
on at americanmetal.com, americanmetalwhiskey.com, American Metal Customs on Instagram, Facebook. I'm Joshua8787 on Instagram, Josh Allison on Facebook. The whiskey, you
Yeah,
can get
sick.
online, you can get it shipped direct to your house. Like a lot of cool stuff going on, dude. Our YouTube channel, American Metal Customs, has killer content we're always putting out. So, I mean, we're charging, dude, and it's not going to
Yeah,
stop.
man. It's exciting.
Yeah.
Awesome. Right. Thank you so much for coming on, man. I really do appreciate it. And I'll speak to you
Appreciate it,
soon.
man.
Nice one.
Thank you.
Cheers, buddy.
Bye.